I honestly think that one of the hardest things about being a business owner is setting your pricing. It is such a massive topic, and I've got a lot to say about it. And I've been having this conversation a lot with different people recently. So I thought I'd just record a video about my tips for if you are worried about raising your pricing and worried that you're just too expensive in general. Hi, my name is Anna. I am a designer and online educator at byrosanna.co.uk. Please do hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button if you want to watch more videos about business, marketing, productivity, all of that. I release new videos every week. So let's get started. As I said, I've been having this conversation a lot recently about people being worried about how much they're charging for things, whether you're thinking about raising your pricing or you've had a few rejections maybe from potential clients or comments from people that's making you second guess yourself in the way that you price your products or services. So what I would say is the most important part of pricing yourself as a business owner or a self-employed person or a freelancer or whatever you want to call yourself, the most important thing is to make sure you're actually making enough money to live off and make the money that you need to make, but also that you want to make, and what actually makes the stress of running your own business worthwhile. It's all very well, we all say, oh, I want to escape my 9 to 5 so that I can have more freedom and make more money, and I don't have a cap on what money I can earn. But oftentimes what we find ourselves doing is finding ourselves on a hamster wheel of just doing the absolute minimum to let our business survive, rather than allowing our business to thrive and having the actual business that we left our jobs for. So giving you that freedom, giving you that extra income that you want. And you need to be making enough money to make that possible. So how do you work out the exact amount that you need to be making minimum in order to hit those goals? First of all, think about what you actually want to take home as your salary. So do some calculations about the actual amount of money that you need in your general life to cover your life expenses, your mortgage, your rent, your bills, maybe to put away money into savings, pay for nice things, give yourself some budget for luxury items or whatever you want to spend your money on. Do some calculations to work out what you actually need as a salary to pay yourself in order to meet those goals. So if we're going to just do a demonstration calculation, let's say you want to pay yourself £2,000 a month. Then what you want to do is work out roughly what you expect your expenses to be each month in your business. So let's say for the purposes of this, that your expenses are £500 a month. And what I would recommend everyone do is put a small percentage of the amount of money that your business makes into a pot called profit. And this is a method that is talked about in the Profit First book, and I'll leave a link to that below in the description. It's a brilliant book about an accounting method that basically encourages you to put aside a certain amount of money into a little profit pot in your business that you can then spend on whatever you like to enhance your business or grow yourself further, improve your skills. It's like a little bonus for you, and I absolutely love doing this in my accounting and I would recommend it for anyone. So let's say that you want to do this as 5%. That's what I do. So we've got our salary and our expenses, so we need to be making £2,500 plus 5%, which is £125. Then what you want to do is also be making sure you're leaving room for tax. So I would suggest adding on another 20 to 30% on top of this amount. So depending on what tax bracket you're in, depending on if you've got student loans to pay off, let's just say 30%. So if we add up your salary and your expenses, 2,500, 30% of that is £750. So if we add up all of those things together, your salary that you want to pay yourself is 2,000, your expenses are 500, your 5% profit is £125, and your tax amount that you're putting aside is £750. All that adds up to is £3,375. So that is your monthly amount, that is your goal amount that you want to be making or need to be making in order to hit your salary goal, in order to put away 5% profit, in order to comfortably save for your tax. So spend some time doing a calculation like that to work out what your minimum amount is that you need to be earning per month to make your business worthwhile and profitable for you. And then take a look at your current pricing, what you're doing in your business. Does it match up? Are you able to sell enough products to make that amount? Are you able to work with as many clients as you'd need to in order to make that amount? If the answer is no, you need to consider whether you want to be putting your prices up. And this is where a lot of people get to this point. They're like, I know I need to be making more money. I need to be making this business more feasible. I need to put my prices up. But I'm so scared to do it because I am afraid that people are going to reject me. No one's going to want to buy from me if I put my prices up. People might make comments. I'll get crickets in my business because no one wants to buy from me. That's all the fear that we have around raising our prices. And so I just wanted to share a couple of reminders for you if you are in this phase where you realize you want to put your prices up, but it's making you feel really, really uncomfortable. First thing to remember is there is always people with different budgets, different priorities, and different life stages that will be interested in buying different products and services at different price points. So I got this tip from the Strategy Hour podcast, which again, I'll link below in the description. It's a great business and marketing podcast if you haven't heard of it before. But let's take crockery as an example. So bowls, plates, cups, homeware, that type of thing. At the end of the day, all crockery is very much the same. It's doing the same purpose. It's giving the same results of people will be able to eat and drink out of it. But you always see huge ranges in the prices of what people are charging for brands of crockery. So you'll see really, really cheap versions, budget versions, you'll see mid-range versions, you'll see luxury high-end designer versions. And that's because someone who is going to buy a budget version might be a university student, they're just leaving home, they have only got a limited amount of money that they need to spend on essential items. So a student is going to be someone very, very different to a grandma buying a wedding gift for her grandchild, to someone who is already had their first home, they're selling, they're upgrading to a new home and they want to upgrade some of their items and homeware to be more luxury, sustainable versions. They're going to be a completely different person and they're going to buy completely different products at completely different price ranges. But at the end of the day, the products all do the same thing. And there will always be people like that willing to pay more for a brand or for a certain look or for something specific. And the key here is to really, really understand who you're actually trying to market to and sell to. There's no point if you've got a luxury crockery brand, there's no point in you trying to target university students to come and buy your stuff because they're not going to do it and they're probably going to make comments like, that's so expensive, it's just a plate, like why do I need that? And then if you hear those comments, then you're going to think in your mind, oh my God, why am I charging that? But people do it because they're targeting different markets. So being really clear about the actual market that you want and need to be marketing to is so important. I do have a masterclass all about this. It is a 60-minute video training with a workbook and it's just £20. I will leave the link to that in the description below as well. My second point is if you see people charging a lot less than you, remember that you don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes with them. They might also be really struggling for money and they might not have just put their prices up yet and they might actually be having a really hard time with that at the moment. Or they might be subsidizing these prices with other forms of income. Maybe their partner's got a job so they don't actually need to make as much money in their business. Maybe they've got other forms of passive income or other ways of making money that means it's not as important to them to raise those prices. Or maybe they're struggling with their own mindset issues of putting up their prices and that is on them. That's not on you. So don't be looking at other people's prices and thinking, gosh, they're so cheap. Maybe there's something wrong with my prices. That's their issue. It's not your issue. And on that note, I would always recommend that if you're starting to look around and see people who are charging less than you and that's what's starting to make you worry, start comparing yourself instead to people who are on that higher level, who are targeting that higher market, and look around at what they're charging. And chances are, as you start to move up that ladder, you're going to see people who are charging a lot more than you, and it really just gives you some perspective. Everything, especially with pricing, is completely relative. And if you're worried about charging more for something that you can do quickly, Just remember that clients are paying you for your years of experience and your skill level, not how long something takes you. Otherwise, just think about it. You'd be penalised for doing your job well because you've done it quickly, because you're very skilled at it. So if you're charging based on the time that it takes you, you're being penalised for that, which is a whole other thing about why hourly based pricing is often very problematic, because you end up, again, being penalised for how quick you can do something. And that usually depends on how skilled you are. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to think that way. And if you ever need to pep yourself up about your pricing, just take a look back at previous testimonials or reviews that you've had of people who you've really given that value to and who love what you're doing. And that's going to really help to motivate you and put you in a more positive space to think, actually, yes, I am worth charging this amount. And also just think, what is the worst that can happen? If someone says you're too expensive for them, that's on them. Again, it's not on you. They're just a different target market and they're not the right fit for your brand. And to be honest, I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years and I think I've only had 1 or 2 people ever say you're too expensive or make a comment to me about it. Sure, they might be thinking it, but they usually don't say it. They'll just say, oh, I found someone else. Thanks so much anyway. And that's fine. They move on. I'm not right for them. They're not right for me because they're not willing to see my value as the way that I see it. And that's fine because they're probably just at a different stage or have different priorities at the moment. So I just wanted to finish this off and say that you are not your prices as well. Please remember to keep your business and your own self-worth completely separate. If you charge more for something, that does not make you a bad person than someone who charges less for it. That does not make them a good person. And if anyone does think that way, that's their own money mindset issues that they need to overcome. And again, that is not on you. But if you truly believe in the value that you're providing, being able to communicate that clearly in your website and in your marketing materials is a really helpful way for other people to see it too. And that just comes down to good knowledge about marketing and copywriting and things like that. So there are things that you can do to help people understand your pricing more, but you don't have to justify it. If you are delivering that value and you're confident about that, then go ahead and raise your prices and stop worrying about it. And on that note, I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up if it is what you needed to hear today. And again, click that subscribe button if you do want to hear more from me. I publish new videos every week.